One. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Reboot. Tonight we're joined by
Mark Bolts Robinson.
Hey Mark, how's it going?
Good.
We're also joined by
Karnes.
And I don't think you've been on this podcast yet, Adrian.
Yes, this is Adrian Crenshaw, aka I'm Geek from I'mGeek.com.
I think that you were on a podcast that never saw the light of day.
That is possible.
We were inebriated, I believe, when we recorded that, and I was afraid of getting.
Then, and I am inebriated now. So let's continue.
Okay. Well, I was afraid of getting sued the last time.
Well, Bill, I love you dearly. Oh, so dearly. I would never sue you. But
I
yes,
appreciate it.
I'm ready to continue.
And Amanda Berlin may join us a little bit later if she's ever finishes getting her tattoo.
Yeah, and if she gets past the whole fact that she's a big infosec rock star now that she has a book out.
Yeah, she is. That's right. I'm thinking about using that book in one of my classes. I teach network defense currently using Jason Street's book, Dissecting the Hack. But I saw her talk at SecureWV/HackerCon and really thought that her book might fit a little bit better. Love Jason, but that book's kind of getting older. So we might still find use it as supplemental material.
You know he's got a new one out, right?
He does, but it doesn't really fit the class very well. It's basically a continuation of the previous story. So I believe there's actually, he plans another book after that. Let's wrap up.
Someday I'll get my own book out, but I'm a lazy ass bastard. So continue.
Just dictate it. Or get a ghostwriter.
Ooh.
Yeah. Woo.
You got to do like the InfoSec rock stars like Gregory D. Evans and go and copy chapters from everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, you can end up on what you call it?
Nutrition.org.
I feel bad that Gregory D. Evans didn't pirate my shit. That's what makes me feel bad.
Well, that's okay. I plagiarized you, buddy, if you want me to.
Okay.
Feel better.
I appreciate that.
So let's wrap up the HackerCon Secure WV stuff. Benny, great conference. Everyone on the podcast was there, including the person that might be joining us later. Do you have anything, some words of wisdom to sum it up for us?
Yes, it's the best one to date. We had 150 people total. That includes speakers, teachers, family members, and attendees.
So 150 people actually were exposed to the sponsor's advertising, right? That's
Correct.
the important thing.
Yep.
And I, as the videographer, would like to apologize for a lot of the audio being out of sync. It was my first con with the new equipment. I'm working to make it a little bit better on B-Sides Philadelphia this weekend, but I apologize, Benny. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Well, that's the weird part because, like, I've reviewed probably 6 or 7, and I've only seen one that was out of sync at all. Maybe I'm just hitting the right ones, but like,
well, I'm hoping to make it better for next cons because I got new video equipment because I'm trying to make it not crash ever like the fucking Avamedias do.
I will say that I've watched a few of those videos too, and the one that's most pronounced is probably closing ceremonies. But we've watched Dave's in class, we've watched Amanda Berlin's talk in class, and I've watched my talk where I was talking about being more professional, and Brunty trolled me and I cussed him. But I thought you did a great job, Adrian. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it even better for
it's all good.
the conferences I'm going to be at.
It's all good. We appreciate it. What's the next conference for you, Adrian?
B-Sides Philadelphia.
We need to put that in the show notes. One of us will look it up. I'll put our intern on that.
Oh, holy shit. I think Sparrow's just dropped off the newest batch of lockpick shit for me just now.
Well, that's great.
All right, I'm gonna go back to open this up, and I'll be drunk on your podcast as you speak. Sorry.
Okay, sounds like you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm good to go always.
Okay, so we upcoming conferences. We have ShmooCon, January 13th through the 15th.
B-Sides Philadelphia this weekend.
B-Sides Philadelphia this weekend. Where's that being held?
Well, in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. So go to Philadelphia and you'll find it.
Sorry, I don't know. Look up B-Sides Philly online and you will find the exact address.
Yeah, I'm sure people can know how to use the Google. If not, there's this great book called Google Hacking for Penetration Testers. B-Sides Nashville, Amanda Berlin is the keynote. B-Sides Nashville, CFP is open till December 31st.
And you should show up, but I will be there to record regardless.
Here's the issue with B-Sides at Nashville is that may coincide with AIDE, the AID conference.
What?
Yeah. I'm going to have to check the
you haven't
schedule.
Sent me dates yet, motherfucker.
We haven't set dates yet.
I've already been set for Nashville, so if you coincide, I'm sorry. I can't be at AID, but...
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
I still love you, though.
We probably won't set dates for AID until after January 1st. eBay sends me an email like every 2 seconds, for Pete's sake. B-Sides Nashville is April 22nd. Just one day, is that right, Adrian?
Yeah, it's just one day. The last several years it has been. They have the best food, though, of any B-Sides you could ever go to. The barbecue they bring in is just so...
It's better than the barbecue that we had in your room at DerbyCon.
With apologies to VIP DerbyCon and Isabi, yes, it probably is. It's really good.
I got to enjoy that twice. Once when I ate it, and later when Taylor threw it up all over the place.
Who threw it up all over the place?
Yeah, Taylor.
Oh crap.
Anyway, we're going. I was going to say we were going on the rabbit hole. We may actually be going down the rat hole.
Sadly, the new package that just came in the mail wasn't actually new Sparrows equipment. It was a bunch of crap for my new Macintosh ProBook because it was all USB-C, and now I have a bunch of
dongles.
I have dongles galore.
So B-Sides Charm, April 29th through the 30th. Well, that's going to all coincide. If we move AIDE, it's going to coincide with B-Sides Charm. 29th through the 30th, Baltimore Convention Center, Baltimore, Maryland. CFP is open. Does anyone else have anything else? Any announcements?
I have one question. Hey, Adrian, did you leave some power strips at the hotel?
Well, none of those power strips should have been mine. They should have all belonged to either you or the hotel.
They may be yours.
Okay. Yeah.
Rick usually carries a bunch of those around.
Yeah, I'll check with Rick, but I just went and got them yesterday. So
thanks for asking, but yeah, I'm pretty sure all those are either yours or the hotels.
Okay.
Yeah, and if they're the hotels, you owe them a lot of money for taking their power cord.
Oh, yeah.
I know they gave them to us.
So, Mark, how did you enjoy your first trip to Secure WV HackerCon?
Oh, I enjoyed the trip overall very much, although I did end up getting stuck in... Where did I get stuck on the way home? I made it out of Charleston okay. Well, I was like a 4-hour delay.
Yeah.
Getting into Washington Dulles, so I misconnected and ended up having to spend the night there.
Oh, that sucks.
So, but the event itself was great. Meeting a lot of people, actually seeing people, including yourself, face to face.
When you walked up, I was like, that guy looks familiar. And then I realized it was you. It was so weird because we've never met in real life until then.
Yeah. I think it's the social media these days helps a little bit.
It helped a lot.
So, yeah, it was a great time. I enjoyed talking, even if it was kind of a short talk, but was fun. It was fun spending time with the Adrian's locks. Sticking picks in his holes.
First of all, I was like, are you talking about his hair?
Yeah, I need some more lock picks because, man, I came back home with a lot of broken lock picks.
It was probably my students.
The Hackman arcade thing was kind of fun too. I need to definitely get around to building one of those.
We've actually got a rival of that. One of the guys saw the talk and has made a full-size version, video arcade, and he's doing the exact same thing, but it's full-size version. He's going to have one of them there next year, he told me. So that'll be pretty interesting.
Awesome. You should make one that actually has like a coin acceptor, so you actually have to put quarters in it and then donate all the money
There you
to
go.
Hackers for Charity or something.
We did raise a lot of money for Hackers for Charity. The Hackers for Charity student organization raised money. Let me find my notes here and I'll tell you all about it. Marshall University Hackers for Charity student organization is the only one in the world. We're the only student the student chapter of Hackers for Charity in the world. So at our last meeting, we divvied up the profits of our fundraising. We sold the Your Cybers Are Not Safe From Me shirts, which were a great hit. We also did stickers, which a total of about $10 in actual sticker material. made a lot of money. So after we paid for the cyber shirts, we ended up with $728.40. 304 Geeks threw in $416.64, which they sent directly to Hackers for Charity in our name. So of the $725.40, $400 went to the Huntington City Mission. $100 went to the Daughters of American Revolution Patriot Project, and we kept $225 to make more T-shirts to fundraise and aid this year. So anyway, thanks everyone who helped with that fundraising effort, and it was a huge success.
Yeah, I look forward to wearing Your Cybers Aren't Safe From Me hoodie when I travel next week.
They were I thought they'd be well received, and I'm wearing mine right now. I sleep in it. It helps me with my cybers. So the first story we're going to talk about is CNN's porn scare is how fake news spreads. So did you all see this pop up on Twitter, and then it went viral? I hate that word. Basically, the allegation is that during Parts Unknown, which is an Anthony Bourdain, one of his shows where he travels and eats and talks about the local cuisine, allegedly in some markets they saw porn instead of the actual episode. It turns out it was a fake story planted by a Twitter user. So do you all agree this is how fake news spreads? What do you think, Mark? My God, he passed out.
Okay, what I heard was correct. The fake story, someone posted the fake story, and then CNN sort of automatically accepted it, like, oh shit, we did that? I'm sorry. What happened? And then like try to do counter to it before they even knew if it even happened. Is that correct?
No.
Yeah.
Basically, CNN didn't pick the story up. Basically, other outlets picked the story up and retweeted it as if it were gospel.
But my understanding, CNN halfway confirmed it underneath the tentative acceptance that it did happen.
I'm not sure.
It didn't.
Well, they had to investigate it, of course.
Yeah, that was toward the bottom of the story. It was that's what I got out of it too, Adrian.
I think
they didn't know.
And I think the point of this is you can make up anything and tweet it.
Oh,
and if it's outrageous enough, people will retweet it without actually checking. This is the problem with information literacy.
There is so much problem with social media and retweeting bullshit news left and right. No one checks. I've had people like, I double checked this thing you posted, and they're like, well, I didn't read it myself. I just reposted it. I'm like,
yeah,
don't do that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been reposting stuff, and they've been doing it for a while. You know, friends of mine, and it's just like you do realize, because we have a guy here in West Virginia that created a fake news website, kind of like The Onion, but it's more for West Virginia specific. And I actually had two people repost one of his stories, and I worked with the guy, and it was, I had to go in every morning, and we just got a huge laugh out of it. And these people thought it was real. You know, they swore up and down these stories were real. And he's like, man, I was sitting around, you know, just watching TV and made that story up.
Well, I think this really started. Magazines and newspapers have had the top blah 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 of the year, where basically they order sandwiches in and they sit around the table and make stuff up. So, you know, the top burn gel of the year. So they'll get a list of burn gels, or the top celebrities of the year. You know, and basically they'll come up with a list. And then we went to Dig. Remember Dig.com? That's kind of like what Reddit is now. But Dig had these stories. And they were like, 5 reasons that your CEO shouldn't be playing golf. And most of the times they were just made up lists. And people would think that, oh yeah, that's really funny, or that's witty, or that has a twist to it, and they would retweet or reshare it. And I think that's where this all started. Now the problem with this is, and we can go on to the second story. The Russians have been very good at information warfare. It appears that Russian propaganda effort helped spread fake news during the election. So they actually have this thing called the Information Warfare Framework, which we study in my cyber warfare class. And they were able to push the alt-right propaganda as well as other false stories that might have helped swing the election.
Oh, hell. I'm not even sure what the alt-right is at this point.
I don't think.
Well, for the purposes of this discussion, we'll just treat them all as one big block. Everyone all the way to Weave.
Everybody. Weave is all metric for alt-right at this point. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that he's the extreme. If you want to talk about the alt-right, we have to talk about. Had this discussion. I am
Weave on Facebook, on Twitter, and yeah, he is the extreme. There's a lot to the
Weave's
left.
Been on this show before,
right,
so,
but you know, I like Weave as a person, but he's a dumbass in a lot of ways.
I don't believe he actually believes the things that he says.
I hope he doesn't.
He gets a thrill out of trolling people.
I can imagine that. Yes.
But, you know, we have the alt-right committee, people making memes, Pepe memes, all the way to the Breitbart people who are now inside.
Yeah, the Breitbart people are the far left of the alt-right people.
Right, so there's a spectrum there.
The alt-right people, alt-right doesn't mean a whole lot, unfortunately, at this point. But
well, I think that, well, I'm actually getting ready to study this, and I think that you can operationalize a definition of the alt-right based upon.
I will study this with you. Let me know how I can help you, because I did a research paper way back in 2010 on like Anonymous, and what Anonymous is pretty damn well ambiguous.
It is, but you're
ambiguous also.
You were way ahead of the curve with Anonymous. Before we had the Gabriella Coleman writings, etc., you were the first person to actually sit down and try to write.
After my talk at that Ohio InfoSec summit, I was told, apparently someone who's a friend of mine who's on the committee was told, while Mr. Crenshaw's research was well done, it was wholly inappropriate.
Because you were using the actual terms that were being used by the subculture, such as new fag, old fag, name fag.
The subculture is wholly inappropriate. But let me know how I can help you with that, because I would love to help you with that. Because the alt-right is part complete fucktards, part I can understand what they're saying, part it defines easy to write memes for Twitter or articles.
And I think you commented on this. Milo, I cannot pronounce his last name.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo Yiannopoulos is going to be actually at WVU. He's on a tour right now, and he's considered the
Milo Yiannopoulos. If I was a black man, I'd so be there.
He is going to be in Morgantown and is on a tour, and just posting that stirred up a lively discussion on my Facebook page.
I noticed that I was part of the person who was shit stirring that.
Yeah. And one of those people actually is related to me by marriage. So
I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. I think that everyone should talk about these things. And my gay friends hate
The
Milo.
people know that call Milo a fascist or
A Nazi.
feminist, all this other shit. I'm like, Milo is definitely a shit stirrer. Milo definitely is a troll. But it's
Right.
hard to call Milo a racist when his boyfriends seem to be black guys, and he's a gay dude, and he's half Jewish. Well, technically he's full Jewish because his mom is Jewish by tradition. So Milo is a hard guy to codify into any particular demographic group.
Here's the thing, and this is my problem with the discussionist fake news, is that I believe very much in the free flow of ideas. And you can disagree with it all you want to, but everyone has a right to say what they want, even though they're wrong. And I think that we've moved away from that.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've moved away from that. And now they're talking about actually regulating speech. And you can regulate speech under certain conditions, such as dangerous speech. You can't fire, you can't scream, you can't yell, movie in a crowded firehouse.
We must kill all bills. All bills are evil.
You stepped on my joke.
Must be sent to concentration camps.
You can't yell movie in a crowded firehouse. Get it? So you can't yell fire in a crowded movie house, etc. So there is dangerous speech, but I'm troubled. It will be interesting to see. We actually had a discussion on campus. We had a sort of a seminar, a meeting of the faculty and students, and a guy who was from PBS called the Open Mind, who studied at Harvard, and we were sitting there having an honest-to-God discussion about limiting free speech. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, just because you don't agree with somebody, does that mean you have a right to limit their speech? And Weave is the extreme. Weave believes that there's no such thing.
Is a fucking extreme. I will admit that.
He believes in free speech at all costs. To him, there is no such thing as hate speech. And so we need to have a discussion in this country about how we handle this. And I think the only way you really stop fake news is information literacy, critical thinking, a return to deep thinking instead of snap judgment. And we all need to listen to each other.
The other thing, too, is read more than just the headline of the story that you're reposting.
Well,
how many people do you know retweet something or on Facebook reshare it, and they've never even read the article?
My mother, to this day, thinks that our president is a Muslim. There was a there was a judge candidate in Nicholas County in West Virginia who basically photoshopped pictures of his opponent, who had been the judge in my county for 21 years, drinking and partying with Obama, and sent this out as a mailer. And he won the election because he painted his opponent as being, basically, which was untrue, that he was like a big buddy of the president, and the president was making these coal-killing environmental regulations. And he was actually reprimanded by the judicial board here in West Virginia, where he has been not allowed to take office for a year and lost his law license. So I think if you're a purveyor of fake news, even a political campaign, there has to be repercussions, and especially in that case, because the stakes are too high.
Well, how many political campaigns did they have over the last 10, 15 years where, they're doing just blatant lies? I mean, it's everywhere. And we've not put any checks and balances in it for several years, and everyone's just up in arms about it.
No, there's no way of putting checks and balances in it other than people need to be armed with the ability to think critically.
Yeah, critical thinking is just going to be key.
On Twitter or Facebook anymore, I no longer unless it comes from a URL that I'm really, really, really familiar with, I don't give it much credence.
So what were you saying, Mark? I think we stepped on you there.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's going to be the key is going to be critical thinking. I was surprised even in my Facebook for the number of people that shared that CNN porn thing, without really kind of thinking it through. That are even like people in InfoSec that normally don't do that. I was just thinking, wow, it's so easy to take that little TiVo bar and Photoshop it onto anything. So, I mean,
attribution, motherfucker.
Attribution dice, right?
Now, I do think that as automation continues and you have like radio streaming and everything else where the computer can just play something constantly, we will get to the point where there won't be humans in the control room anymore. And it's possible that the TV will end up broadcasting porn on CNN for half an hour. But that's another story and further down the road.
Well, we do have a story about something like that did happen. And there wasn't porn on CNN. So we have the case now of the San Francisco transit stations being attacked by ransomware. Mark, why don't you take this one? What's the impact here? And apparently the alleged perpetrator of this hack has been hacked himself.
Yeah, that was an interesting follow-up to this. So apparently it was over the weekend. It was Saturday. They had the San Francisco Muni stations, the payment systems in the station managers' things were all bricked by ransomware saying that you hacked. And they were demanding $73,000 in ransom. I don't recall exactly how they were supposed to pay it, whether it was a typical Bitcoin one or if they were dumber than that.
It was Bitcoin.
Yeah, which is the smart way to go if you're going to demand a ransom.
I think the exact ransom was a demand for 10 Bitcoin, which at market prices today, it was reported was $73,000.
100 Bitcoin.
I'm sorry.
Yep. So if 10 Bitcoin were worth that much, then
it was at one time, right?
Yeah,
back in the day, before Mt. Gox got whatever happened to Mt. Gox.
Oh hell.
Yeah. So then the guy ended up getting hacked, which was a newer development or twist to the whole thing. I don't have much details. I didn't read far enough to read up on that part of it, but
that story is specifically from Krebs on security. I'm trying to get it open right now. Oh, and guess what? You can't get to it. This is the same problem I had before. So if you try to go to Krebs on security right now at 7:49 p.m. on Wednesday, November the 30th, you get a 502 bad gateway, and then it says shield. So I'm thinking that maybe Krebs on security
I'll be your gateway. Oh yeah, big boy.
Is under attack, DDoS attack yet again.
I'm there. It's something that you've got, man.
I've had the same results on different computers from different places all day today.
You need to take off your Cybers sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Go to your Cybers.
I don't wear my cyber sweatshirt to work. I have to wear.
Bullshit. You're all about the Cybers. I know you're a Cybers 24/7. Okay.
I need some Cybers bow tie or something.
I'm moving my nipple right now. Well, think about it.
Anyway, so Benny, can you actually brief us on the story on Krebs on security since you can get there? Or are you trolling me?
No, I'm not trolling you.
Please fucking troll him.
Okay, well, I can troll you a bit. Yeah, so basically somebody came to, looks like Krebs, and said, they had hacked into the hacker's account at the Cryptom27yandex.com inbox and actually showed Krebs documents where this person was trying to ransom other places. And about 100 bitcoins is about what he was going for across the board.
Well, I mean, $73,000 is not chump change.
Yeah, at one point, I think it was like 400. Wait a minute. No, it says a review of more than a dozen Bitcoin wallets this criminal has used since August indicates that he has successfully extorted at least $140,000 in Bitcoin from victim organizations.
I'd say it's time to retire if I were him.
Yeah. But they also found this person that hacked back found 2 other accounts that were listed for this person on Yandex.com. So that's 3 total. And the flaw basically, at one point he was, I say he, I don't know if it's a he or not.
Well, it could be an organization. It could be a criminal organization just as easily.
Yeah, it says it appears the attacker had been trying to help people with a flaw, and it just happened to be an Oracle WebLogic under serialized exploit, and at one point said that they after the person paid, they helped them and sent them to a link for the advisory from Oracle and said, fix this before plugging your server into the network again or into the internet again.
Well, here's the thing is that people who are actually behind these ransomware attacks are businessmen and women. They're there to make money. So I've heard of them setting up help desks to help people decrypt their computers and help them actually get Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's crazy, but as long as people pay these ransoms, this attack is going to continue.
Yeah.
It's
a pretty big article in it, and I haven't finished it either. I got about halfway, and I mean it's, his stuff is pretty in depth most of the time. So
what's the defense against what's the defense against ransomware other than don't click stuff? Anyone?
Well, there's a number of things you could possibly do. It depends on how much money and effort you want to put into it.
Right.
So, I mean, you can look at things like controls on the endpoint that whitelist applications. Don't let shit run out of temp.
Right.
Don't let shit tamper with Windows System 32.
I still like Boris's don't click shit.
Yeah, well,
that's the simplest thing. But
I guess let's say that you have a ransom of $73,000, but you had $70,000 or $20,000 to spend to prevent ransomware in the first place. I think there's a lot of things you can do. It's an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I've said that like 4 times today. But
how much does Boris cost?
I don't know. Boris now works in infrastructure at a very large corporation, and I don't know.
Oh, it's going to pay Boris not to make my people click shit.
I heard he just installs printers all day now.
Yeah, printer drivers, basically.
Oh, hell.
They have to do a lot of printing. I wonder if they're using Agile to install printer drivers.
Well, we fuck with the printer drivers.
So, anyway.
Fucking weave.
What I thought was interesting about the Muni hack is also that the value, because generally you don't want to cross that $10,000 or $20,000, whatever that threshold is to get the FBI involved. You want to stay just under that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's sad that you have to. It's sad that we actually know, or criminals know, what the tipping point of getting the FBI involved or the Secret Service or whomever. And that if you can keep these scores small enough that you can get away with it for a very long period of time. Now, on the flip side of that, the FBI says that report everything to IC3, and they can take multiple reports and build a case from those small scores in order to take down an organization. But yeah, they're trying to stay under, not cause enough damage to get FBI involved.
Evidently not this guy or this person, group, whatever.
Well, it'll be interesting to see when this pans out and what happens. My understanding is that in San Francisco, you can ride the rail system for free because they just had to turn off all the kiosks and let people get on the trains. So hackers disable Carleton. I can't even talk.
Carleton.
Thank you. Carleton University computer system demand Bitcoin. So here's an example of a university being totally crippled by ransomware. I work in a university. I can tell you right now, it is a free and open network, and all you can do is all you can do, especially when you're trying to maintain a learning atmosphere that's free and open. This isn't the first Canadian university hit by hackers. Earlier this year, the University of Calgary paid $20,000 to cyber attackers to take over the school's email network.
Fuck those fucking Maplebacks.
So, anyway, does anyone have
I love you.
comment other than what we other than what we've already talked about here? Go back to don't click stuff, right?
Yep. And I think one of the things is also you got to pay attention. You got to have, as I mentioned in my talk at Secure West Virginia, you got to have a plan for incident response these days. A lot of organizations, their only plan is panic. We just got a call for, incident response over the weekend for organization that got popped, and they still haven't decided that they want us in to help them. But the first thing that their IT people did when some of the machines started exhibiting signs of malware was they rebooted the servers and rebooted to no operating system because it was looking for that very response and trashed the operating system, and then the servers wouldn't boot at all. And it's just astonishing how many people don't have a plan for when this happens.
And maybe they found a response, and maybe they didn't.
Well, that's the thing is that being prepared, we think most organizations have business continuity plans and disaster recovery plans. So if the place burns down, they sort of have a way of staying up and running. It doesn't appear that organizations have a run book for malware attacks, O-days, or they're keeping backups all, so that they're not separate and apart, so everything gets encrypted, including the backups. And I think a lot of this is just a matter of proper planning. The other thing is that, when the caca hits the fan, do you know who to call? You should have a list of people who are notified and sort of an if-then scenario. If this, then, this is our response, other than flying from the seat of your pants.
Yep. Not only have a list of people to call, but who's allowed to talk to the press.
Right.
Who declares that it's something that requires a breach notification, because an incident does not mean that it's necessarily a breach, and so on. So,
very true, very true. And then also when to call law enforcement.
Yep.
Law enforcement involved. And sadly, there are some, and I wish I had them with me. I actually have the FBI flyer on ransomware. It's out there on FBI.gov if you can go find it. But they tell you how to contact them and under what circumstances. But yeah, if you have a big attack, they probably want to at least know about it. They're probably not going to show up and arrest anybody, but they'd like to have a sample, perhaps. They can send stuff off the cert. and figure it out. Next story, and kind of pushing us along. We have a lot of stories this week, which is the enigmatic code breaking site to become elite cyber defense school. So, what do you think about that?
I think this is awesome. The best part is they're looking at students aged 16 to 19, so they're getting them early, and kind of, working off of what they already know. Capacity is going to be about 500 students, and they're also going to be working to help those people be able to go into internships with some of the other groups that are working with, was it Bletchley Park? Bletchley? So that's good that they're looking for the future, getting them in now, training them the way they need to be trained, hopefully, and then because I know, that's the future. That's what we need to be doing here. And that's kind of one of the things we want to try and do in West Virginia. That's the point of having Secure WV, and is to get people thinking along these lines and, get it out there. I think this is a phenomenal story, quite honestly.
Well, I mean, education is key. The sooner you start, the better it is. And this, I actually work on an advisory committee for the NICE framework, which is basically a national framework for cybersecurity education. And we're now looking at doing middle school and high schools as well as colleges, trying to fill the alleged cybersecurity gap. I saw a story this week saying among some information security professionals or cybersecurity professionals that gap actually does not exist. But education is key. Now, I will tell you right now, I'm on a couple of different advisory committees for cybersecurity education, and I'm not happy with either one of them. We were lucky at Marshall to build our own brand, and now we're looking at these frameworks, and it looks like almost, I hate to say this, that we might have to match these up with these different frameworks out there, including NSA, NICE, and National Cyber Watch. We're going to have to kind of dumb down and water down some of our curriculum. So we're going to try to work these learning objectives they have into our existing curriculum is the idea. But it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. If they're doing such a great job, and if these frameworks, why have we not already fulfilled the need for talented cybersecurity professionals to have the skills to do the job when they graduate? So I'll get off my soapbox now. Anyone else have any views? Adrian, what do you think? I got him passed out.
I have no views at this particular point.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Sorry, man.
Mark?
I think the concept of a school at Bletchley Park, especially since it looks like the building that they're restoring for this college kind of looks like Professor Xavier's School for the Gifted.
Yeah.
Is just really awesome given the history of Bletchley Park and what they've accomplished there. And it's interesting that it also notes that it's not going to be 100% cybersecurity either, but they're also going to have lots of other like STEM related classes as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see the outcomes of this. In terms of like having this as something that fulfills the skills gap and stuff, I think that I don't know. I'm personally believing that the data show that there is a skills shortage, and I think we see that in the circles of friends that are in InfoSec, and everybody knows everybody, and we're a small community, and we need to do more, I think, to get that expanded. And especially get the skills up of the people who don't have the skills currently. There are a lot of people in the industry even who I would not trust to secure my network.
I know what you mean.
So and more education, the better, really. And through conferences like Secure West Virginia, the B-sides, and everything else, hopefully we can move that bar forward a bit.
Benning?
Yeah, I agree. I was actually talking with someone right after Secure WV. Someone contacted us or contacted me for to try and get a makerspace set up for junior high and high school age kids here in the Canal Valley. Something that they can,
Yeah, there are organizations working on that now.
Oh yeah, there's
West Virginia's taken another swing at it. You've got the makerspace at EDC that, quite frankly, is underused.
Oh yeah. But I mean, it's the thing is, it's like, trying to get out. Everyone's wanting to do it. Everyone sees what it needs to do, but no one's doing anything. And everyone's asking us, and it's like, well, we don't have any money to do this.
It costs money, and I would say that if you have an interest locally in a makerspace, go talk to RCBI, Robert C. Byrd Institute for Advanced Flexible Manufacturing. I actually run the Raspberry Pi users group there, makers group. I think we've actually talked about doing more with it. It is partially utilized, but it's a little underutilized as well. We had a BB-8 makers meet up there, but for people who make their own BB-8s using 3D printing. All the ones that are used at the theme parks are actually made by hobbyists who make their own and then sell them to or give them to the theme parks. So that was pretty amazing time as well. And Hackers for Charity student group is looking more at education. So we're going to try to leverage. Now, the thing about RCBI that's different than other places is they have the startup money to actually buy the equipment for a makerspace. There's a lot of organizations now, including Create West Virginia, whose heart is in the right place, but quite frankly, they're kind of low on funds. So that they may actually have something in the near future, but for now, we have kind of a lot of people with really big dreams and not a lot of things actually taking place.
Well, that's something that Rick and I have been trying to do for the last couple of years, is trying to connect all these people at the same time, because
we did have. That's the reason. One of the reasons I organized that makerspace panel that we had at Secure WV HackerCon.
Yep.
Privacy eyeglasses. This is a Kickstarter. Basically, the idea is the eyeglasses are made of reflective material to avoid surveillance cameras. So, have you all seen seen the website, the links in the show notes? I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but they're like, you have to pay like $95 to get one.
Yeah, but I mean, people are really worried about their privacy.
Yeah.
We live within the most surveilled society ever. And now, one of the things that I was looking at today, there are these things called snap glasses. Have you seen those? Which is kind of the opposite of this, which is basically is video cameras in glasses. So you can push a button on the glasses and start recording a Snapchat, and it will automatically upload.
Yeah, it's kind of an expanded version of the Google Glass, right?
Yeah, well, it is and it's not. Google Glass was way more featured-full. It was also a more open platform.
Well, that's true.
This is a very closed platform. Now, I'm sure people will reverse engineer it and try to do other things with it. But, so, Mark, what do you think of the Kickstarter project for the reflective lenses to basically blind cameras, surveillance cameras? I think Adrian passed out.
I think it's going to be something that, they're going to, if they don't already, they're going to have some kind of counter to it with cameras that have a filter or something compensating eventually. Right. But I don't know.
There's different ways of blinding cameras. You can use laser pointers, for example. So this isn't particularly new, but you know how things are in Kickstarter. Someone thinks they have a wonderful idea and they want to try to make the product, which is it's cool. But we've had a lot of low-tech ways of blinding cameras for a long time, and we use them in physical assessments with permission.
I just also think that for these, as Benny was saying, for $90, you're probably better off going to Walmart, get yourself a $10 pair of sunglasses and some reflective tape, and make your own.
Yeah.
Well, and didn't Black Hat have those baseball caps that had the LEDs in the bill, and they were only like $40?
I don't know. I can't afford to get a Black Hat.
Well, I think Rob had it a couple of years ago.
I'm giving you a hard time. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that's just it. I mean you can make your own.
Yeah.
Cap
So I mean,
as well.
you could probably do it for like $20 if you already have the hat, or less than that, probably.
Adrian,
But, I
are
mean,
you still with us?
I think it's an interesting idea, but I agree, Mark. They're probably going to have something, a filter, or something that'll beat it, probably in a year or two, if this becomes more widespread use. Sad part about it is I don't think there's that many people that care.
I think there's a lot of people in UK that care, where cameras are everywhere and people have done different things. There was a guy that dressed up in this crazy costume and would go to different intersections and just act creepy in order to get the police to come. And in UK they've had cameras everywhere for a long time. We're getting more like that here in many ways. I mean, we've got body cameras on policemen. We have cameras that are security oriented, personal security. We don't see as widespread police cameras, but in major cities they're using way more cameras than we're using here locally or in a small town. So the next story is Kaspersky's hack-proof operating system. So who added this can actually tell us about it.
That was Mark that added it.
Okay.
It was something. It's not like a terribly useful site for in-depth reporting or decent journalism, but at the same time, the Hacker News does have interesting tidbits. And I haven't seen this really confirmed yet, but just the concept of a company spending 14 years to make a microkernel operating system and then say that it's completely hack-proof. As we all know, the first rule of security is there's no such thing as a secure system. So to like Oracle's unbreakable claim that this is hack-proof is just going to be more egg in their face when somebody actually does hack it.
Benny?
Yeah, I would like to see. I mean, I saw this today as well, or maybe it was yesterday. I can't remember where it came across my feed, but I agree. I've got to see it in action, and I don't know. When I see claims like this, I just go, yeah, whatever. What did Dave post in an airport? He saw a sign that was like, everybody can relax now. Who
Silence.
Oh, yeah.
Silence. They have sort of over-the-top advertising, which is probably not the best idea, but you can't explain that to the advertising team.
Yeah.
And as a result, us being the community we are, we tend to troll things when when people are acting stupid, we tend to point it out. But hack proof. Don't worry about hackers because we've got this blinky light box that does major anti-ATP defender, next-gen firewall, cyber stuff. A lot of that marketing is just such BS.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't. The people who are in the field who are actually trying to secure systems, that doesn't do them a bit of good either.
No, so Kaspersky actually did come out with a blog post Wow, from October of 2012, actually. But it looks like
Yeah.
he's saying that it's specifically for industrial control systems.
So SCADA systems.
Yeah. So I'll add that to the show notes too.
Awesome. Adrian, did you pass out? Are you okay? You want us to send help? Okay. Anyway,
Don't swat him, Bill. Don't swat him.
I'm not gonna sweat him. I just worry about him sometimes. He's probably picking locks or something. Okay, where are we? I'm lost.
We're down to the every Windows 10 in place upgrade is
Yeah.
a severe.
Is that yours as well?
Nope.
No, that one was mine.
Okay,
I
go
saw
ahead.
that. I think Moobix posted it today on Twitter. So basically, when you go to upgrade to 1511 on Windows 10, 1511 or 1607 release for the update, if you hold Shift F10, and there's a video on the page that actually explains, he actually goes through and does it. So as you go to hit the update, you hit restart. When it says that it's preparing the updates, downloading all that stuff, when it comes back up and it says that it's performing the update, if you hold Shift F10, you can basically bypass BitLocker. And he actually goes in, sets up a privileged command execute. And basically, you can run command cmd exe once it boots back up, and he shows you how to do that. Then when it comes back to his standard user, he then uses that privileged command exe window to set that user into the administrator's account. I mean, the video is probably 10 minutes. Now he fast forwarded through the updates because they seem to take a while, but literally, you'd be up and running after the reboot, and it was pretty impressive how it just, he had BitLocker enabled. When it came in for the update, he was able to bypass that, go to his encrypted BitLocker hard drive and modify a couple of files, and yeah, it was pretty interesting and pretty scary.
But this takes local access. You have to have physical control of this machine. Is that correct?
Yes, but still, I mean, one of the things he mentions, he said, why would a bad guy do this? Could be an internal threat who wants to get admin access, just has to wait for the next upgrader, or convenience. It's okay for him to be an insider, So if I'm on a Windows PC and I just want, to be an administrator, boom. And then if you're an external threat, then you can just wait for it to update and get in that way. You still have to have physical access. But
I'm not saying it's not a threat. I'm just saying that as you're going through and trying to evaluate your risk, this is definitely a risk.
Yeah,
but it's not a risk that somebody in Ukraine can do this.
Not yet.
Not yet, but I'm sure people are working on trying to figure out how to do it. But that's an interesting. It's an interesting flub once again by Microsoft. But pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's like I said, the video is pretty interesting to watch how easy it was for him to get through.
So this is every Windows 10 upgrade. Does this include servers? I thought there was a story about servers as well.
I didn't see anything on servers for like Windows 2012. Well, Windows 2012 is too old probably, and Windows 2016 is not even really quite.
I was just wondering.
It's coming out now.
I imagined it, I'm sure.
Well, it would stand to reason that the Windows 2016 server has some of the same update process code in it as the other, I mean, why would you write two completely separate routines? But
Interesting.
I certainly cannot confirm that the server side's affected as the client side is. I only run my Windows 10 in a virtual machine anyway, so I don't really care.
Well, I don't even run Windows 10. I need to roll a new machine for teaching purposes and research purposes.
I actually have it only for two things. Visio, because OmniGraffle for network diagrams is really kind of crap. They've kind of gone in the direction of they want to do like, flow diagrams and process diagrams and UI design and stuff like that. But I need network diagrams. So Visio is still the only real tool I've got for that. And then, although I've been in organizations where we've had customers who the guys actually did everything in PowerPoint, which was really frightening. But
ouch.
The other thing I need it for is to use a tool like Rufus to write bootable USB sticks and stuff.
Right.
Because for some reason OS 10 doesn't do it right anymore.
No. Well, it doesn't do it right, and then it's also a pain that took us
right
to do it. So
I've even done like command line stuff with it. Like I just recently was, I have a Skull Canyon NUC. I was installing ESXi, and I had to go into the Windows VM to make the ESXi USB stick bootable because OS 10 just refused to do it. So
yeah, that's one of my problems with OS 10. It does not make that easy.
Yeah, I just don't trust there are some Mac tools that you could supposedly get, like third-party software, but I don't trust them. So
yeah. The last story we have, and I don't know who put this, iPhone secretly sends call history to Apple.
I did.
So what's this all about, Benny?
Okay, so if you have your iCloud enabled, and let's see, a Russian digital forensics firm Elcomsoft, which I kind of, I was like, well, okay, it's just somebody trying to make a name for themselves. But if you get down in the article, they say that part of their software is actually sold to who does the Cellbrite?
Right.
So that's where it was really interesting. So anyway, they found that they can you get your call history, which is synced, and I'm trying to find the paragraph that has everything that it does. Call logs is synced with it.
So I guess the question is, in a forensics investigation, could you just go ahead and request this stuff from Apple?
I think that was the gist of the article, was suggesting that because they do have the keys for the iCloud side of things,
right?
They can unlock that and access that data, which is partly why they were saying that the San Bernardino shooter's phone, that the FBI were dumbasses, because if they could get the phone in where the guy lived and have it on the home network, they could get it to do a backup to iCloud, right, and then they could get the data out of it.
Yeah,
right. And that's what they're. Yeah, that was basically what they're saying is, law enforcement can actually obtain direct access to the logs with a court order for everything that's on the iCloud. So.
I don't have a problem with that. Law enforcement can, with a court order, get access to a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can also do the the call log part of it. Verizon's got a log that I made a call to. So I mean, I don't
you
really
can contact.
The whole LUD information's ancient, history in terms of law enforcement collecting call logs for stuff.
Well, I've been involved in some law enforcement investigations where mobile devices were in question, and it's not hard with the proper proper authorization to get this from the provider themselves.
I also didn't find, to me, the concept of this was like, well, duh, of course it's doing that, because all of this stuff, the way Apple does the handoff and the continuity between the Mac, the iPad, the iPhone, Like it's sort of annoying now for my better half when we're watching TV or something, because if I get a phone call,
Yeah.
the Mac rings, the iPad rings, the watch rings, and the phone rings like all simultaneously.
Yeah, it happens to me in my office when I'm trying to talk to people. So I understand.
That is iCloud passing that information back and forth. So I just always assumed that it was logged. I and that's what it did, because that's how it works. I mean,
Well, the other thing, it says that it also does FaceTime, audio and video calls, which is synced to the iCloud. And beginning with the iOS 10, incoming missed calls that are made through third-party VoIP applications like Skype, WhatsApp, and Viber, never heard of that, and that use the Apple Call Kit to make the calls also gets logged to the cloud as well.
right, which makes sense because they're using CallKit, which is the SDK framework for doing all of this stuff on iOS. I mean,
It's interesting, but I don't know that I have a big problem with it. And I know people at The Intercept are very pro personal privacy. I think in our society, as long as we're doing the proper things, such as getting warrants based upon probable cause, I don't really have a problem with it. And we live in a society where every crime has a digital aspect. We talk about cybercrime, but even regular old analog crimes, such as robbery, murder, rape, etc., have people leave behind digital footprints wherever they go. So there's so much stuff here. I know at the state police lab here locally, they have almost a 1-year backlog and stuff like this.
Yeah, they were saying that, talking about that, but it's not that the law enforcement angle is what gets me. Is if you don't realize that it's going up there and someone hacks into the iCloud, now they, and they want to stalk you for some reason. Now they can, find that information, see what cell towers it's pinged off of and stuff like that. It's more of a, hey, if you didn't already figure this out, doing it type thing.
You're absolutely correct. My whole thing about that is, yes, it's possible it will take a determined attacker, and it's really up to Apple to guard that data. But with all the data that's out there about us, I don't know. I'm not trying to argue with you, but this is an interesting story. But I also see the law enforcement side of this. I don't work in law enforcement, but I do work around people who do criminal investigations using digital forensics, and sometimes it can break a case. Now, I also agree that some people who are using some of this stuff, such as the FBI in the San Bernardino case, they weren't being very smart about it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm all for the law enforcement having access.
I'm just looking at it as what's my alternative? Use an Android device.
Yeah.
The security risks of both devices.
Yeah, I'll stay with the walled garden. It's not perfect, but it's. I think that really, when you're talking about managing your risk, I think you're better off with Apple. I've always hated every Android device I've ever had.
Well,
here's an interesting story. More than 1 million Google accounts have been breached by malware.
I was going to say, yeah, I almost put that in there as a side, as a,
Well, since we have it out here, I'll go ahead and put it in the show notes. So what is the story about?
Basically, they were Carosoft. I can't remember the security company. They had found where, like it says, over 1 million Android devices were given malware so that they could get the Google token, and they could then get into your Gmail account. And
What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. And all the other accounts, like if you have Drive and all that stuff set up. But they were finding that like 57% were in Japan, but there were none in China. So they were like, it might be coming from China. We don't know. But they were saying that, yeah, exactly. But I saw that, but I haven't had a chance other than looking
Well,
over
I've
at what
just
I do.
posted the story. Checkpoint reached out to Google security team after uncovering
Checkpoint, that's it.
a massive. After uncovering the malware that had been working with Google, they've been working with Google to investigate the massive breach. And
But it here again, it's the malware backed to dozens of what they called legitimate looking apps. And if you aren't familiar with the app and you can't do research on the app, don't install it.
my whole thing about that, you're absolutely right. You should not install things that you don't trust. And the other thing is maybe everyone should just have an iPhone.
Some of us don't want iPhones.
I understand Dave's like that. Dave has Apple everything, but no iPhone. He's a Android device lover from way back.
Yeah, there's stuff that I can run on an Android that I can't run on a Wi-Fi stuff
I
that I
understand.
can't run on iPhone. Now, the apps that I have, if you go and like one of them says Wi-Fi enhancer, or beautiful alarm, battery monitor. Yeah,
Right.
if you go and you download these things and without, if you just typed in battery monitor, you're going to come up with like 30 those 30 are probably the ones that are
And
full of
what's to
malware.
say they're not using Black Hat SEO where they're actually driving up the results in the search results somehow?
Exactly. I'm very particular on which ones I install. And, I do a little research on the company first if it's something that I haven't seen before. So, and, you pay for them so that they're not going to have malware.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I understand what you're saying. It's like the old argument between Mac and PC. People need a certain operating system and they're used to it, so they stick with it. And we can argue about what's more secure. You can actually take that as far as Mac versus PC versus Linux. But Adrian, are you there? His microphone's open and he's not snoring, so he must have walked off. So that was the last story. Thank you all for coming on tonight. I don't even know how long we've been doing this. Probably a good while. But thanks. We're trying to do this more often. We're about once every 2 weeks now. Anytime you want to come back, I'll try to get some some show notes together in the next few days. And,
You should have done a live one at HackerCon, man. Tell them.
Some pot too noisy. How? When we put everyone in the same room and they all got in the same computer. The thing about doing a live show is you have to have good equipment or it just sounds like, you know what I'm saying? Benny. Bueller. I think we lost Benny. Mark, are you there?
I am.
Oh, thank goodness. Thanks, Mark, for coming on. If you want to do this again next week, just let me know.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Good night, everybody.